Hey, what's up, guys? Max here, and wanted to do a little quick update on the situation of the Serpent. So, as many of you know, it didn't really set well when it comes to the announcements of the balancing updates on the Serpent. So we were expecting a lot of the players, I would say almost like 85-90% of the players were expecting some balancing on the Serpent, just because he's definitely overpowered. Like, adding him into almost every single meta so far of Battlegrounds, he's been like crazy defender, if not, he's been the number one defender kind of consistently. So, and there's not that many counters. That's really, I think, the problem and the argument when it comes to a lot of the players, whether they're like super high competitive players, you know, just in general players. It's just like whether you don't spend in the game or you don't have like Chavez, she's like the ultimate counter for this guy, or you don't have, like, depending on the meta, like Wiccan. Actually, Kabam makes reference. Let's bring that up right here. I had to go back and look at the original post of like the Serpent, which we have right here. We can bring it up here. And this is the original post that Kabam made. And the reason why I'm bringing this topic up again is because we have a little bit of an update on it. So here it is. Here's the Serpent. Now, I had to go back and reread this whole thing just to make sure that I understood or I missed out on on anything. So one of the things I did point out on this paragraph here, it says, over time, as players identify new counters and strategies to fight the Serpent, we're seeing his performance as a defender stabilize as a strong but healthy level. So, you know, Kabam, obviously, I've said this before, it's always financials. That's kind of priority when it comes to the game, is kind of what makes money to the company. And it's got to make sense, right? The company needs to make money, because if it doesn't, then we don't have a video game to play. We don't have people on the back end like building these characters, building these like defenders. But at the moment, I think the reason why a lot of the players are just advocating that they want a little bit of an adjustment is because we don't have that many options to take on the Serpent. Like in this meta right now, the meta we're like currently at, like literally Chavez is the best option in the Gladiator circuit. We see some other options do them, but they're taking almost the entire 2 minutes or close to it to be able to take them down. And if like you put the Serpent down and the opponent doesn't have the Chavez, then you can stall them and you can ideally win the match, even if they have a decent counter, right? So that's kind of like what happens consistently when it comes to the Serpent, at least in Battlegrounds. When it comes to Alliance War, it's a little different. Like if that might be still an area, a topic of like him being very tanky. If like there's a global ban or the Alliance bans like typically all the Serpent counters, and they put Serpent on a like super duty hard node, kind of like strategize, you know, that's an option too. But for the most part, yeah, that's kind of like that's kind of like been the argument to this whole case, you know. And it's and yes, we've had two sides. There's people that love the way the Serpent is. Ideally, some of the players already have either a 7-star rank 3 Serpent and invested a lot of monies into this champion, you know, and that's fair too. That they should argue the fact that, hey, I put up hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get this guy, and now have him high sicked and rank 3 for resources. Everything in this game, for the most part, you have to buy if you want to have a healthy, strong option when it comes to your account. So I get it. I get that part, you know. But here, let's get to the update here really quickly, because that's the whole point of this video is right here. So Kabam Crash, he is not, I would say this really fast, he's not part of the balancing team. He's literally more like a guy that's been communicating with us, the players, for a long time now. We've seen him a lot of consistently in the live streams. He's been really vocal there, bringing us a lot of news. Now, that's kind of like the situation here too with this post, is that he goes in and says, hey, you know what, guys, I'm not part of the balancing team, so I don't have those ins and deep thoughts into why he's not balanced or adjusted. But I can say that kind of like in summarizing his words is like, hey, I trust my coworkers, I trust my team, and if they're saying that he doesn't need it, then he doesn't need it. So you know, in other words, basically, it's not happening, guys. So the amount of pages, the original post originally came out, when was it? August 28th. This post was not just today. It was done September 6th. Today is September 10th. And we have yet to hear anything else, you know, and it took so long for Kabam to even say this. So I'm glad, you know, Kabam Crash at least, you know, came out and said, hey, let me let me just say respond to these guys. We still don't know. I don't know if we know the details. Shoot, I'm in the CCP and I don't even know. So I don't know if it's out and exposed to who's involved and who is actually part of the balancing program. I'm assuming it's going to be like 1 or 2, 3 people at most. It's not a program that's really like we saw the program kind of die out when there was changing happening with the community managers involved, recently. So, obviously word was getting mixed up. I don't know if it was that was causing the problems. We don't know who the community, who's the balancing peoples, right? And we don't know whether they play competitive battlegrounds, aligned to war, whether it's just one person or 2 people, and people. I feel like people over there at Kabam definitely wear many hats. So maybe they don't dedicate too much time. We don't know that. So we don't know how much research and really has been put into the reason why Serpent wasn't balanced or changed or slightly adjusted. And I think that's kind of especially because of the situation, the way it's kind of unfolded now up until September 10th. I think Kabam would be really good if the balancing people or personnel would kind of say, hey, this is the reasons why just on this champion, we're going to give you guys some feedback, some kind of peace of mind. We're not touching him. We're definitely, I can kind of, based off of this post, I can kind of see it's not happening. He's staying the way it is. But we see a lot of the community, kind of advocating want more information, more details than just this simple post saying, hey, you know what? We see him in the future kind of balancing out over time, which again, guys, it makes sense when it comes to a business point of view, right? You tell the employer, which is the creator of the champion, hey, make me a tough defender. I want him to be providing some tough options and fights for the next 6 to 8 months, maybe a year. We're going to build onto him and then eventually get some answers for him, And so that's been the cycle of the game for forever. So we know this, but it's the argument too also can be said, hey, you know what? Bullseye was kind of like that, and he got a slight tune down to be a bit more playable. Why not the Serpent? So I've seen so many comments and posts about the whole thing, but yeah, guys, that's the update so far. I kind of want to just let you guys know if you did miss it, if you didn't see it, at least we have some communication from Kabam Crash, which is not, again, the balancing team person or personnel, but he says, hey, I trust my team, and if they're saying we don't need it, we don't need it. So I'm assuming also with that too is that we're going to be getting some Serpent counters fairly soon. So be on the lookout for that, man. And if you want to spend money into the game, because that's kind of the idea is to get the counter, then be ready to dish out at least $100 for the early access bundles once that is released. So but overall, guys, yeah, let me know your thoughts on this whole situation, whether you were on this fence on the side of hey, yeah, just a little bit balancing a justice to the Serpent or none at all. But for now, if you have a Serpent and he's rank 3 or rank 5 ascended, and that's kind of your account, that's as high as you can go, then he is super safe. And yeah, keep ranking them up, guys, because he's here to stay. Like I said in the live stream, Kabam is gonna die on the hill on this one. They're not changing their mind, and they are not going to do anything about it, even though there's been thousands of people, hundreds of people upset about this whole situation. They're just at the point, doesn't matter. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the video, guys. Take care. Peace.